I wanted to go over the grade options for the forum with you because sometimes that can be a little bit confusing. But if we go to the grade section here, the aggregation type is the way you want your grades figured. So there's a variety of ways to do it. You can either do no ratings at all, and what a rating is whenever a student posts a message, then on the bottom right hand side of that message it'll have a place for you to give that person a grade. You can either use a scale, which I'll show you in a minute, or you can just use a straight grade like 7 out of 10 or 50 out of 100, whatever you want to do. Now you can do no ratings, and in that case you don't have to rate any of the messages. You can do an average of the ratings. So what you might do is if you have several, let's say you have students rating each other's messages, then you can just have an average of those ratings, and that would be the student's grade for that forum. You can do a count of ratings. So in this case, again, if you had students rating other students' messages, you could have students have the grade be from the number of ratings that each post got. Maximum ratings would be the highest rating that student had received for the forum. The minimum rating would be the lowest grade that student had received for the forum. And then the sum of ratings is the instance where it just adds up all of the ratings for the forum. Now, in many cases, instructors will have a forum and students will post multiple times on that forum, and the instructor will rate each of the posts that the students make on the forum. So in that case, if you do a sum of ratings, then all of the ratings for all of that one student's messages, let's say the student has 10 messages, then all 10 of the ratings from those messages for that student will be added up, and that will become the grade for that forum for that student. So let's say we're going to choose sum of grade ratings. Now there's a variety of grades you can choose. Like I said, you can just choose any number 100 all the way down to 1. So you could have a 5-point total for your forum, or your forum could be worth 50 points, or your forum could be worth 35 points. Your forum could be worth 100 points. You might have no grade on your forum. Now there's these other options which are scales, and the scales are usually like 1 through 5 or 1 through 3. But what happens is, let's say you choose the completion scale. Okay, let me click on the question mark beside the word grade, and we're going to look at these different scales. You can click on this question mark anytime, and it brings up a pop-up window of what the scales are available to you. Okay, the first one we have listed is the 5 or 6 point discussion board scale. So in this case it says for weighted or averaged grades, you'll see no substance. So from the list of ratings that you have on a student's message, you'll look at those. You'll click on the drop down box like I did just a minute ago, and on that list it'll say no substance, like here. It'll say very good substance, which as you see here is worth 4 out of 5 points. Excellent is worth 5 out of 5 points. Average substance is worth 2 out of 5 points. Poor substance is worth 1 out of 5 points. Now what happens when you use one of these scales is the students just see these items here. They don't see the number. So they're receiving a numbered grade. So in this case your discussion board would be worth 5 points. They're not seeing a grade. They are seeing that the post has average substance, or that post has excellent substance, or very good substance, or no substance. But when you click on no substance for that message, it's receiving in this case, a 0 out of 5 points. It figures it a little bit different if you do the sum, and here is the grade points for that for you. Okay, the next one, an average scale typical of letter grades, which you might do, again, this is a 5-point scale. The completion is just, and again, it identifies if you have weighted grades or just your sum of grades. It identifies if it's an incomplete, they get a 0. For a sum, it's just worth 1 point. So you can use these scales if you want to, and the scales will help students see an understanding of how they did on the forum for you. You can also mark restrict ratings to posts within these dates. If I have a classroom and I want students to post on my forum for 1 full week, so I go from June 30th until July 6th. I'm going to type in July here. Now, and I can list 00, which will be right as it turns midnight, and June 30th starts here, and I can go to 23:55 for July 6th. So that's 5 minutes before midnight. So in this case, when students post any message on this forum between June 30th and 11:55 p.m. on July 6th, they will be eligible for a rating or a grade for that post. If they post after or before that time, there's no area to give them a grade on their message, so that message is not eligible for a grade.